Well, good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting. Today is Tuesday, November the 21st, 2023. The time is now 6 p.m. The regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Trinidad will now come to order. Would you please rise for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a roll call, please.
DeBono.
Here.
Griego.
Here.
Ogletree. Here. Shu.
Here.
Thurman.
Paul said
Williamson.
he wouldn't be here.
Here.
Rico.
Here. Approval of the agenda changes. I'd like to take item 11, which is the executive session, and postpone it to a different date. With that, I need a motion.
I move that we move the executive session to which date?
Whatever.
The next regular meeting?
December
5th. Okay, the next regular meeting.
Okay. Need a second?
I second.
Call vote, please.
DeBono.
Yes.
Griego.
Yes.
Ogletree.
Yes.
Shu.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Item 3, policy items and staff reports. Mr. Ruger, what do you have?
Mayor, just a couple of things tonight. I just wanted to publicly talk a little bit about Noah's Ark and what our plans are. So Noah's Ark unfortunately lost their license last week, but we have, thank you, Kim. We have spoken with the state and we've been granted an extension of the license through December 31st. So that gives us a little bit of time to come together as a community. I've already directed staff to begin that process and move forward with finding solutions. The biggest thing, obviously, for the city side is our legal requirement to impound animals, and I don't see that we're going to have any issues with that, but we'll bring solutions and some ideas to you all in December. So I just wanted to point that out. And then since we have Carlos here, I just wanted to thank him for his service on the ARPA board. So thank you, Carlos.
While we're at it, anybody have any questions on the Noah's Ark issue? I don't, not right now. Until we can.
So what will happen with the animals? Do we have any idea?
So just a couple, that's a very good question, and thank you for asking that. One of the things that I've asked staff to begin looking into is I want to do a major adoption event and reduce charges as much as possible to try to get these animals homes, especially going into the holidays. We will be hitting up other shelters to see if we can do some transfers, and so we will do everything we can. And then there is the possibility, depending on how we resolve the situation, that some of the animals may be able to stay after December 31st as well. So we're going to explore every option possible to ensure the safety and welfare of the animals that are housed at Noah's Ark right now.
Thank you.
I did have one question. As far as the monies that were allocated to continue operation to the end of the year with hopes of finding alternate funding sources,
Yeah.
does that change that in any capacity?
So my understanding is council has authorized that money, and it is required for them to continue operations through December 31st. However, I have and will continue to ask Noah's Ark if there's any reserve, if there's any balance left come December 31st. We want that money back, obviously. So hopefully we'll get some kind of a reimbursement on some of the money that we've allocated, but they do still have payroll, they do need to buy food, they still need to pay for all of their operating expenses for the next couple of months.
Steve, has the type of violation been disclosed?
Not officially yet, but what I can tell you is there was more than one violation.
Going into the 2024 budget, there's, what was it, $235,000 that we had allocated. And I guess that funding could be held temporarily after 2024 and reallocated somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think that's something, just wait and, we'll have to just wait and see
Yeah.
what the circumstances are and then we reallocate that money if necessary. So
Absolutely, Mayor. As we come up with solutions over the next month or so, we'll keep an eye on that money and see what resources are required for continuity of operations.
Right.
But there may be an opportunity to redirect some of that funding.
okay, all right. Item 4, petitions or communications are all written. I typically have a sheet that I must have left at home. I just ask anybody speaking tonight to be just respectful of council and the language that you use. Like I said, I just left my sheet at home. So just please be respectful of your speaking. And one person, Mr. Carlos Lopez. And Mr. Hooper will be our timekeeper tonight because Les is not available.
Staff, council, mayor, Tom, everyone else, thank you so much. I came to talk about this Thanksgiving. I'm grateful for the time that I served the citizens of Trinidad on the Arkansas River Power Authority Board. This board consists of 2 members from the Trinidad and a collective of 6 communities with 2 board members per community. And I say this knowing that you know this, but for people that are out in the audience in the ether that may not know this, how it works. I have worked as a volunteer for the citizens of Trinidad, driving out east to La Junta and other communities on a regular basis to ensure that Trinidad has the best opportunities for electrical power rates that are in our best interest. I have served with 4 other board members from Trinidad during this time. So that breaks down to about 1 counterpart per year. So I hope this demonstrates the impact this role has left on me for several moments as a solo board member while the city has tried to find a co-board member for me in this capacity. During these past 4 years, I am thankful that we have managed our credit rating with S. Smith & Poor's as a stable BBB rating. ARPA's had some issues in the past, and the board has maintained this stable rating for the past 4 years. This is something I'm very proud of to be a part of. I'm thankful that we've been able to negotiate a productive contract with Guzman Electric to provide Trinidad and our cooperative partners affordable electricity for the next 20 years until ARPA is either dissolved or another contract is initiated. I am thankful that we'll be receiving a discounted electrical rate to benefit the citizens of Trinidad as a result of this. Interesting, though, that we're getting an increase greatly, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Hopefully we can counter that with this new discounted rate in the future. I am thankful that we'll be able to start saving money, so we're having funds available to maintain or expand our wind turbines that produce renewable energy for us. With the new Guzman Electric contract, we'll be able to produce from 8% to 20% of our renewables as part of this agreement. But I don't feel that you guys are also thankful for the work that and my dedication in this role over the past 4 years. I was notified on Friday on a phone call that I would be removed from this position. We have our annual budget meeting coming up next month, and you're removing me right before it. But this seems par for the course for this dais. This is the 3rd time this year that you have removed a board member via consent agenda. And I would have thought that I would have been able to conclude my work with the final meeting of this year, but you all don't find that necessary. I find this to be a slap in the face for all the consistent dedication I have had toward the board and the citizens of Trinidad. You all have set the precedent that board members can be removed without any public discussion. This will have ripple effects for future councils. They will use these maneuvers for future board members, and this will be a big part of your legacy. Just be aware of that, because there's no discussion. I wasn't even notified that this might even be happening. So I guess my time for the past 4 years as a volunteer have been for naught. There have been times when you've had meetings without even me being informed about them. And staff would tell me, oh, Mike can handle it, or so-and-so can handle it. I'm being removed without any complaints or disciplinary actions in my file. This appears to be a decision made by the administration of the city and is not initiated by council. If this is a new policy of the city to replace non-official members with city staff, then I can understand that if you wanted someone in the electrical department to be in there. Then where are the other removals of other people that are similarly situated like myself on tonight's consent agenda? I don't see anybody else that's in my position right now. In conclusion, I'm proud of the work that I have done for this community, and I'm thankful to have served in my civic capacity. I really am. I had a lot of easier decisions to be made because of the work of Michelle Miles. There's no doubt that woman put so much work into this dais and this board, so that way when we had these Babcock and Wilcox lawsuits and other things that were going on with disputes with Lamar, she gave me the footing to stand on. And Frank, you should be thankful to her too, and Linda when she comes into this role. But I do wish the new board members to have nothing but success for the sake of the citizens of Trinidad. Thanks.
Thank you. Item 5, consent agenda approval. Item 5A, approval of the regular meeting minutes of November the 8th, 2023. Item B, removal of Carlos Lopez from the Arkansas River Power Authority Board of Directors in favor of a city official representative appointment. Item C, appointment of Utilities Administrator Linda Vihil to the Arkansas River Power Authority Board of Directors to fill the unexpired term of Carlos Lopez. Item D, reappointment of Franklin Shue to the Arkansas River Power Authority Board of Directors. Item E, approval of the emergency procurement for ditch crossing pipeline with RMS Utilities in the amount of $62,981. Item F, approval of the bills for $3,711,092.43. Item G, approval of the payroll November 11, 2023 through November 24, 2023 in the amount of $630,504.88. And if it'd be okay, Mr. Ruger, could you tell us what's happened on this ditch crossing pipeline just briefly?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, and members of the public, so
It's kind of
we
unusual to ask that, but I think
totally understand. We had an emergency situation where we had an exposed water pipe in one of our ditch crossings, and it was an emergency to the extent that those pipes aren't designed to be exposed to the elements, so really anything weather-related could have damaged the pipe. So we needed to act quickly on it. This is just ratifying that decision to do the emergency procurement so that we have consent in accordance with our procurement policy.
okay, thank you. Great, thanks for the explanation.
Of course.
Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Call the vote?
DeBono,
Yes.
Griego,
I can't vote for myself.
Yes. Ogletree,
Yes.
Recuse yourself from that item.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
She passed me up, she didn't
Oh.
hear.
Shoe.
He's abstaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's going to abstain on that item. And me, yes.
Okay.
Public hearings, we have none. Item 7, unfinished business, we have none. Item 8, first reading of ordinance amending the City of Trinidad's annual budget for the fiscal year beginning 1/1/2023 and ending 12/31/2023, and setting the hearing date for consideration of said ordinance to December the 19th, 2023 at 6 p.m. The original amount was $66,624,498, and it has been reduced a bit to $66,320,766. You need someone to introduce?
I'll introduce it.
Entertain motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Ms. Navarette, what do you have for me? For us, excuse me.
Good evening, Council. This is the first reading for an amendment to the 2023 budget. It's just to tidy up some expenditures that we actually didn't create this year. We're reducing the original ordinance, like Mayor said, by $303,732. The most significant decrease is the transfer out that we had scheduled from the general fund to the capital fund for the Central Park renovations. They're barely getting into that work right now. I didn't feel the need to transfer it at this time. We did rebudget that transfer for next year. And then there's just, like I said, just a bunch of little other odds and ends that we're tidying up to get us closer to balanced.
Okay. Any questions for the ordinance amending?
No, I have none.
Ms. Grego, do you have any questions?
No, sir, I don't.
No.
Okay. Another discussion, call the vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shoe,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Navarette.
Thank you.
Item B, consideration of a bid to refurbish Caterpillar, the Caterpillar 816 compact at the landfill, which would go to Wagner Equipment in the amount of $271,687.74. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Just, what do you got?
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. It's basically to rebuild the existing compactor we have out at the landfill. The machine probably has in excess of 25,000 hours on it. It's not if it's going to go down, it's when it's going to go down. So basically, we met with Caterpillar. They have a program where they basically go in and rebuild the machine, the motor, the drives, everything on it mechanically. refresh the cab for $271,687.74. That same machine, brand new, would cost $600,000, a little over $640,000. So it's approximately a fourth of the cost, and we get the same warranty for this machine as a brand new machine. So we use it daily out there. It's a main component of the landfill. The more we can compact, the longer that landfill is going to exist.
So, I guess the big question I had, just a quick question, is how long will it take Caterpillar or Wagner to rebuild this?
They're estimating 60 to 90 days. If we get this in, they have a slot open in January. They can order the parts as soon as this is approved, and basically have the parts and ready to start in January. And then they're hoping, optimistically, 60 days. It could go as much as 90.
Another question.
So is that updated 25,000? Because I read 18,000, which is equivalent to 500,000 miles, actually, you know, for regular conventional engine. So I guess a 3-year warranty as opposed, because there's a compactor 816 in Aurora for the same amount of hours, same price for $230,000. So it seems fitting that do the renovation and get the 3-year warranty.
3-year, 5,000 hours.
5,000 hours. 5,000?
5,000 hours, yeah. The machine's 80 hours.
Ms. Grego, do you have any questions?
Well, I've been doing some math here, and Mr. Just said that the old machine has approximately 15,000 hours on it, which roughly equates to 12 years. So
I think that was
if
incorrect.
we have,
Lennon, I think
Pardon?
he has a correction on that, correct?
Yeah, the hour meter's been broke, so for a while.
okay,
So we're estimating 25,000 hours. So,
That's 600,000.
which is approximately 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
At 2,000, an average of 2,000 hours a year.
okay. So I'm thinking, are we trying to save money if we buy a new machine that lasts 12 years as opposed to rebuilding the machine that we only have warranty? I know you said the warranty is the same as a new machine, but it's not going to last over 2.5 years, the warranty. So I'm asking the question, would it be better for us to invest in a machine and finance it or lease it new as opposed to rebuilding this machine? I mean, if we're getting 12 years of life on the machine that we have, do you understand what I'm trying to calculate here?
I do.
And Bob, if you don't mind, Mayor, Council, I maybe can answer this question. The answer to your question is yes, but from a financial standpoint, you know, we're just in a very difficult position to commit to debt service going forward or take out any loans right now. So another example is we are in need of a new ladder truck. It's about a $1.2 million investment, but in lieu of that, we're going to spend a fraction of the cost to rehabilitate one of our older trucks. So that's just kind of where we're at right now with our budget. And it's unfortunate, but we're just not really in a position to finance or buy new vehicles at this point, and I would caution against that.
Okay. And there's no grant money or any outside revenues that we could ask for to purchase a new machine?
Unfortunately, no, but that's a great question, and we are looking out for those opportunities. So if the opportunity should arise, we will absolutely go for it.
Okay, thank you. I don't have anything further.
If I may add, I after this rebuild, I'm hoping that we get 25,000 hours out of this machine, because basically it's going to have a brand new motor, transmission, the front end, the rear end, all the mechanical parts are
And who's
going to
doing
be
this?
replaced.
Who's doing this?
Wagner, Caterpillar out of Pueblo.
No, I don't have any questions other than, you know, there's no guarantee if you buy a new one either you're going to get 12 years out of it. That's pretty silly anymore, because they can go out anytime. But at least you get a rebuild. We have a warranty on it, and sometimes those older machines work a lot better. if you get all the new parts in it.
And flipping through all this, there's the 600,000 one too. It looked like it only had a 12-month warranty or a year warranty, so I don't know if this is a better warranty. But I think given what Mr. Ruger said, I think this is a good, thoughtful decision.
I had just a couple of questions. We deal quite a bit with Wagner Cat. I found them to be super reliable and a good place to deal with, so I'm really glad that it's going there. When the unit is in use, who does the maintenance on it here now?
We do.
We do, okay.
Yeah, we have that new service truck. We go out there and we're able to.
That's good. I was hoping to hear that, so that's good. And then to Mr. Shu's point, this older equipment really is a lot better equipment if you can maintain it because of the new regulations they have. I mean, you have a lot more horsepower, a lot more robust, reliable systems, so I'm glad we're keeping that. The other question I had, in its 3 months potentially absence, and I think it probably will stretch to that, what is the plan in its absence to do?
Caterpillar is currently looking for a machine that we may potentially be able to rent for that period. If we can't get a compactor, we'd even take a dozer. But so we're in the process of, or they are, I should say, trying to find us a machine.
Okay. After reviewing it, I appreciate all the legwork you've done in showing the potential examples. Thank you.
You bet. And you're exactly right about this older machine's not Tier 4 compliant,
Yeah.
which is nice. We don't have to meet that new requirement.
Right.
That's another benefit because then you have the cost of DEF and everything that goes along with that.
Yeah, this is much more economical to run.
Correct.
I feel comfortable with that decision. I think it's a good direction.
Okay. Thank you.
If there are no further discussion, call vote please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Rico?
Yes. Item C, consideration of the proposal submitted by HD Consultants for the design of Santa Fe Trail multi-use path, number 12-2022. That is for the amount of $271,147.99. Money is coming from CDOT grants and city projects. The city is obligated to $450,000 of that, and CDOT to the $1.8 million. The only question I have is there's a $41,099.07 item in there. Can you explain that?
I'm sorry, I don't. We're at, Mayor.
It's on my computer, but it's in the language.
It's not in my communication here.
Is it in the agreement?
It's in the agreement. I can't remember exact words that, but I did see that.
Here.
Did you find it?
Yeah, look here. It should be an item next year. No, I guess not. Should be.
I didn't mark which page it was on, but I didn't see that. No, it's too long.
Yeah. No?
Did you find it, Frank?
I was looking here, so not in the area.
It's a long read.
Contract.
Oh.
Yes, 39 pages. It was on the back end or somewhere.
I found it.
Did you find it?
Good job, Karen.
Yeah, it's on the very bottom. It's the itemization. and it says $41,099. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes,
And it's outside service rates for sub-consultants, is what it says on the,
okay,
the pages aren't numbered per se.
okay. Okay, that's what that was. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of explains it. I must have missed that component of that. Okay. Questions? Well, first of all, let's entertain a motion.
Well, so moved.
Second,
Second?
discussion. Mr. Chester, what can you tell us about that?
Well, it probably goes back to it seems like 2 months ago, we interviewed consultants to design this multimodal trail from Saddle Road up to the CDOT facility. And per the procurement process with CDOT, you have to identify and mark. And this firm came in, they're the same firm that did our traffic study, HD Consulting, and they just barely won through our, we had Mr. Ruger, the other department heads from water, gas, everybody was invited for the interviews, and we all basically graded them. And Jenny compiled the numbers, and HD came in as the top candidate. And so then you don't know what their price is, because CDOT doesn't allow you to reveal that until you pick a firm. So once you pick a firm, then you can reveal their design fee. So anyway, I'm just kind of explaining the whole process. So based on when we opened their design fee, it was pretty high. So we basically, we're back in negotiations. That's why I say it's been about 2 months since we had interviews. Am I correct in saying that, Steve?
Yeah, that's about right, Paul.
And anyway, they're down to a fee now that it's approximately about 10%, or, well, you could do the math over the $2,250,000. So anyway, they're a very knowledgeable firm. I thought they did a great job on the traffic study. So anyway, we look forward to working with them on this project.
Questions?
Oh, I mean, I was just gonna say, that's great that to provide a pedestrian, bicycle multi-use trail along Santa Fe from exit to Saddle Road neighborhood. And I did some research. HG Consult has been recognized as industry leaders in planning and design, so I think we have the right firm right now. 270 days, $2 million project. Now, another thing, if this is approved, Steve, are we paying incrementally as each phase is assessed and completed?
Yeah, we'll pay for the work as it's done, so they'll invoice us after.
How many phases are there?
Do we know how many phases?
You talking about the length of the project or
Yeah.
the design process?
Yeah.
Both.
I anticipate it's a fairly easy project. It's a trail that they're basically designing. Construction is probably going to be in the 120-day, 150-day period. It's a concrete path. It's 10 foot wide. And
Bicycle and pedestrian.
correct, it's a shared path. That's correct.
And Mayor, Council, if I may, one of the challenges that we're relying on the design consultant to help us with is which side of the road. We're not even to that point yet. What's going to be most feasible? If we have to cross over, would we go under one of the bridges? That type of thing. So there'll be a lot of work. Right-of-way acquisition will be part of this process, the whole 9 yards. But we have tremendous faith in HG Consulting that they can come in and.
So you know, it's just gonna be with traffic or against traffic?
In their proposal or their interview, they really pushed the east side of Santa Fe Trail, which is good. And then they talked about doing a Texas crossing when we cross Morris Canyon.
Yeah.
So basically you put in culverts for the low flow, you have high flows, they go over the top. The biggest challenge then is now you have to take that traffic across Morris Canyon. So they came up with a solution. They think they can light it or flash it. The pedestrian comes up to it, hits a button, flashing lights come on, for crossing. They're really pushing that. But then, as you know, as we get to Saddle Road, our path or our trail coming up, Santa Fe Trail is back over on the west side. So at some point, we gotta cross back over, so. I'd like to see it go down the east side till we got to Morse Canyon, go underneath the bridge, then stay on the west side, as we head towards Santa Fe Trail. That has challenges in itself, like Steve said, we're gonna have to acquire it right away. It sits lower than that part of it sits lower than but I think if that brush and those trees were removed, I think that trail would work fine. But that's why we hired them. They're gonna run all the alternatives by us and give us the best scenario. So it's planning as well as design is what this proposal's for.
Ms. Grego, do you have any questions?
Just a FYI question. So when we have a project of this size, is there a budget within the budget? I mean, did the consulting fee come in at the price that you thought it would be? Or is it over what you thought that the fee should be? Or is it in line with the standard is?
I think the price that we have now is within acceptance. The first price when we opened it was like sticker shock. It almost fell over. It was like $450,000, so we were able to get them down to $270. And then a lot of this is, they went in with worst case scenario doing a subsurface investigation, utility investigation. The only places we have to do that is where we have any potential utility crossings. We will investigate those utilities where we cross. But we were able to minimize that. I think the actual survey, if we stay on one side of the road, is minimized. So that's kind of how we were able to get this fee down from where it started at.
Okay. I have no questions.
No, just pertaining to this and that, what about the road itself? Are we gonna do anything with it? I mean, we were supposed to widen it.
Not at this time, but that's a good question. We would like to place the trail path, especially at Morse Canyon, and like to have a left turn lane in the future. So we're looking ahead that when we place this trail that we'll be able to accommodate that additional lane,
You're gonna have to plan on doing the road along with this, right?
We don't have the funds right now.
No, but I mean,
But
when you design it, you're gonna have to
Correct.
compensate for,
absolutely, we
Shoulders
will
and
locate the
stuff
trail so we
widen.
can do the widening. That's correct.
yeah.
I just am trying to envision this, so it's gonna be a concrete path the whole way.
Correct.
Do we, are we foreseeing then that we're gonna be responsible to maintain that, to shovel snow and do all that? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right.
Unfortunately, yes.
Do we have equipment to do that?
We do. We did propose that we were looking at a side-by-side with an enclosed cab with a blade on it. And maybe down the road we can get one of those, but if we have to run the four-wheelers, how we do sidewalks now up there, or we could even get a truck with a plow on it if need be, because it's 10 foot wide.
Yeah.
So, but yes, we do have to plow it and probably have to mow the sides of it. So there will be additional maintenance.
Okay. I think it's still a good idea, but I just was foreseeing that is gonna be part of what we're gonna be responsible for.
Good question.
What's gonna be, do we have an idea for the budget of the actual construction of the trail?
We have, out of this grant, it's 2.2 million. So I don't know if anybody's even ran those numbers, but it's gonna, to me, it's gonna be quite a bit. It's gonna be under the remainder that's left after you take the design fee off of it.
Well, I mean, one of the main reasons I'm asking is obviously we'd really like to see a more comprehensive trail system from downtown to Fisher's Peak. So I mean, this is just one small segment of it.
Correct.
And obviously you have to eat an elephant a bite at a time, so we're starting somewhere, so that's good. But I think it'll still help with connectivity because you can get up to Saddle Road pretty well. There's some I've never actually walked it myself, but I've observed some trail up a bit of Santa Fe. So I mean, we're getting better connectivity. It's just I'm sure everyone's anxious to have that connectivity. I'm just astounded at how much engineering costs. So obviously it's expensive. I did have one question about the design of the trail itself. Is there going to be any steps taken to make it as interesting as possible? I mean, like, you know, just rather than a trail beside the side of the road, is it going to take advantage of any unique terrain to try and vary people's experience as it goes?
Probably not. I'm just being honest with you. We're going to try and keep it within our right of way where we can. When we get down to Morse Canyon and in that area, it'd be kind of unique if we could go underneath the bridge and through it. Kind of similar to when you cross underneath the Commercial Street Bridge. But, and they may not even go underneath the bridge. They may just keep it all to the east side, you know. But
Mayor Council, if I may, I think that's a good point. Obviously, we're creating this to be an amenity, so we will definitely express that to our engineer and say, you know, whatever kind of features, whatever kind of geographical diversity you can add to the trail, we would appreciate it. So we'll make sure they get that message.
I appreciate that. I think that'd be good if we can.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it has to strike a balance between you know, what we would like and what we can afford.
Right.
So if it's able to be included, I think we should.
And some signage about how far it is to Fisher's Peak and downtown and all that.
That'd be terrific. And, you know, I'm envisioning that we'll have it segregated, bicycles this side, pedestrians this side, that type of thing, and signage that denotes that and everything. So we will definitely look into all of that. But I think this is such an exciting project. And the idea of connecting downtown with ultimately Fisher's Peak is just such a cool thing. And the one thing I did want to mention, though, CDOT, they had some glitches on their IGA process, so we were late in getting our agreement with them, so we're on a very tight timeline on this. But we're not concerned, it's doable. But that's also a good thing, because I think this trail is going to get developed very quickly.
Does this stop at Wendy's?
Just before
That's
Wendy's.
as far as the trail goes, right,
Yeah.
in that area?
Yeah.
Correct.
One of the questions that I had is that you talked about project coordination with other agencies, and I was wondering, as the engineer goes through this, and they had a whole list of the various agencies that could get involved with this, do you anticipate several of these? Because if that's the case, it could delay that time frame for the engineer. I mean, there was probably, 12 or 15 different organizations throughout the state that would could have a say in this. So I think that's just something to keep in mind. It talked, like you said, about value engineering, a lot in there. So I think that's going to be interesting. You had mentioned there at Wars Canyon that, I think you said at Wars Canyon, where the water could possibly come over the top of the road. How often does that happen right now?
Are you talking about the low water crossing if they take the trail?
Right.
Just when we get a pretty good event, a storm, you know?
Okay,
It's designed to convey the low flows through culverts underneath it, and then the bigger flow would basically breach it, and then if it leaves limbs or silt or whatever, then obviously we gotta go in and clean that off, you know? But it's,
you have to put a big sign before and after, say, high water, if there's any water, please pay attention.
no, that's a good point about the signage, you're right. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is make it the safest path, possible path that we can for our constituents, you know?
The next question is going to be, once this gets started, is from Saddle Road down to town, when is that going to happen? There's not an answer for that right now, but that's going to be the next question. So, as a matter of fact, we've already had that question asked.
Sure.
Yeah, so I just, okay. Any other questions? Call vote, please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes,
Ogletree?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Rico?
Yes. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Bob.
5-9 council reports.
I don't have anything
Okay.
tonight.
Ms. Grego, do you have anything tonight?
I have a couple of things.
Go ahead.
Most of us met at the legislative roundtable last Wednesday, and it was very well attended by townspeople, and I think it's starting to catch on. It was very informative and very well planned, so thank you, Mayor, thank you, staff, for putting that on. One thing I'd like to ask as a possibility of a future work session is to get some of the people that are involved with cannabis businesses in Trinidad to come and talk to us about what they're going through right now with the decline. I think we have to give this industry respect for what they've done for our community over the last 6 years. And I'd like to hear what their thoughts are, because it's almost like when the mine was closed, you know. I think we need to find out what's going on, if there's anything we can do to assist. You know, I think the more information we garner one from the other will definitely help. So that's number 2. I have 4, but number 3 is I want to let you know that I'm not there tonight because I don't feel well. I have a really bad cold, and I didn't feel I was acting responsibly to be in a room with all of you and possibly infect you, so I apologize for my absence. But I say that because I am truthfully as surprised as you all were of the outcome of Noah's Ark. You know, I think the problem at the shelter is a community systemic problem. You know, there's no organization that can continue on to try and make life better for 117 animals. It's an undaunting task for 5 ladies on the board of directors, and but I will tell you, Noah's Ark, we are going to continue in any way as a board, any way that we can to assist the city in enriching or helping us or assisting with the operation of that shelter. We are not, you know, our main purpose is to take care of animals and make sure that they have the best outcome that we can possibly give them. And we're not cutting and running by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I talked to a board member from Artocade after Artocade dissolved, and this person told me she hadn't been out of her house for 3 months after Artocade dissolved because she was embarrassed and she was afraid to come out in public for fear of what the public felt of them and what reputation they felt their reputation was tarnished. But I can guarantee you the staff and board at Noah's Ark tried with every fiber of our being, every spare dollar that we could personally put into the organization to keep it running as smoothly as we could. We were there and we're not going anywhere. If anybody has any questions, I have some ideas, and the board has ideas that will help with the change from a nonprofit-owned shelter to a whatever the city deems is the best operation for the shelter. And I just want to want to thank you all for the support that you've given this shelter over all the years, and we won't let you down. I will tell you, not because of what's going on with the shelter, but because of my new position in January. I'm stepping off the board of directors for Noah's Ark because I just physically and mentally can't handle both of those positions. So if anybody has any questions, if anybody gets asked and you don't know the answer, please either contact myself or more appropriately, Laura DeBella, who is the president of the board, and find out what's really going on. So thank you all so very much for entrusting that huge, important task to us for all these years. And thank you. And one more parting thing, I just want to wish staff and council, and that's including you, Mayor Rico, all of you, happy Thanksgiving. May you have a very blessed couple of days with however you decide to celebrate the holiday. I am so thankful to work with the community and council and staff that I have. It's a blessing to me, and thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I don't have any reports because we have our ARPA meeting coming up with the budget and everything.
What is that?
December 7th.
My only report is that the Arts and Culture Advisory Council met, and they have hit upon a really good idea that kind of plays into something that Ms. Garrett suggested years ago, to do some kind of fanciful seating around town, and they have found a contractor locally who can build some really cool design seating. Some of it would be in the shape of two raccoons facing each other, and another one is a big bear sitting on some rocks with its arm out so kids can sit there. I just stressed to them that it is of utmost importance that they work with city staff about the placement of any of those things so that we make sure that they're in good places, maintainable places, safe places. But I'm really excited that that's finally coming to some fruition. I wanted to just echo what Karen said about, and to thank her and to thank all the people who've worked for Noah's Ark for all these years. I have only really positive memories about that organization and all that it's meant, and I think that we'll find a way forward, and they'll find a way to get back to the focus of what they initially got involved in animal care for, and I think it will work out well, and we'll figure it out. The legislative update, I got to attend that, and I just wanted to note that, not to just be flattering, but I was really impressed with all of the comments that our federal and state representatives made about the difference that Mayor Rico has made in terms of our connections to people at state legislature and in state administrative offices and federal offices, and I just want to thank you. That was really apparent, and I trust that Ms. Griego will continue that tradition, and she has big shoes to fill.
I have a South Central Council of Governments meeting coming up in early December, so I'll have some reports from that. Also, I just wanted to mention, and I think it's really exciting for Trinidad, the trail to the peak top is open. I really feel and believe that it's something that Trinidad can use to leverage visitation to town, people coming. There's a lot of avid hikers that will love to do that trail, so we really need to find some way to get out as much information as we can to as many people as available, because they'll come and do it. The expression is, if you build it, they'll come. Well, it's been built, we need to get people to come, because very few people are going to do that trail in a day and leave. I mean, it's hotel rooms, it's restaurant visits, it's small business visits. It's something that we can leverage right now because we have it in our possession. Also, I wanted, as Councilwoman Ogletree said, I want to just say thank you, even though it's in some ways an inglorious end to it, for all of the effort that has been put into Noah's Ark. People have poured literally their life, money, effort, and time into the well-being of animals, and it's as we go forward with that, it's going to be a lot of tough decisions for a lot of people. So we do really just need to stay the course and make sure that we do what's best for the city of Trinidad in every facet, both for animals that we are responsible for and for our constituents. And lastly, I just echo Councilwoman Grego's point. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and I hope that it's a restful time and good for you and your families. That's it, Mayor.
Okay, I feel,
Go ahead.
just to go on to that deal. I don't know if any of you guys caught the Channel 9 news, but they had a really good 10 minutes of Fisher's Peak Trail with a deal there. They had a lot of video of the trail itself and everything, and it really looked pretty good on the TV, so it really got some good publicity with the governor and everything. But it was really nice. It showed the trails and everything, and it was quite a bit for Trinidad to get on there. So it was really nice of them to do that. So we are getting a kind of little bit good publicity, free, worked out really well.
Free is good.
But that was really good.
You know, and the trail to the peak, you know, I've been talking about that for the last year and a half now, and as I go to Denver or Springs or whatever, in all my meetings typically with people, I always talk to them about Fisher's Peak and tell them that the trail is coming, and they get real excited. So, you know, from what I've been trying to do, I've been trying to get that word out, you know, piecemeal, but I think hopefully they've gone out and spread the word that maybe this will be spread even further now, maybe through some advertisement. We'll see what happens with CPW, see what they do. I attended the tourism board meeting last week, and they're talking about destination theater, and what that would be is they're talking about December promotions, and they want to market the area of Albuquerque, Amarillo, Colorado Springs, and Wichita Falls. So they're talking about doing some kind of advertising for some of the events or something they might be coming up with now this December. So they're working on that. They just kind of listening to them, they're beginning to settle in a little bit as far as a board. I'm seeing some positive stuff going on, so it's good to see. They also talked a lot about the Smithsonian project that's coming up now in December, and seems to be a lot of excitement behind that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that is all about. The legislative session, like I said, I felt it turned out very well. It was well attended again this year. And like I mentioned that night, I think it's something that I brought forward, I'm not sure if it was 2017 or 2018, because I felt like it would be a good idea to bring these legislators to our community so they could hear so that we could hear what their plans are for the coming year, what maybe they've done and what their plans for the coming year. And I think it's just important that we allow them to do that, and I hope that it will continue in the future, because I think it's really, really necessary. So it'd be good to see that continue. Let's see. I got a call Friday night from Tara Marsh called me, and she told me that Rick Garcia, as we know, Rick Garcia is going to be retiring now in December sometime, and that he would be coming to Trinidad sometime now in December or in the next couple of weeks. So I texted him and I said, when you do come, would you please let me know? He said, well, by the way, I'll be there tomorrow. So what I did is I contacted, it was myself, Rick Garcia, and Felix Lopez and him. We sat down, had a cup of coffee in town, and just wished him well and thanked him for everything that he has done for the community, because he has done a lot. The next director, he feels like will be very interested in Trinidad as well. I guess he's been talking to her, and it's a lady, Maria, but I forget what the last name is, but she has a different last name.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, hopefully that she'll have the same interest in Trinidad as Rick did, because he really did help us quite a bit.
You need to be the next director.
Yeah, she's gonna be the next director.
You need to
Oh,
be.
sure. I also, last Friday, and thank Audra, got a call a while back, Miss Connie Pacelli, was her 90th birthday, and she asked if I could do a proclamation for her. And I did. It was out at the new hotel, and talked to the lady, and that lady is, for 90 years old, she is really in good shape. Very spry, but it was good, and I know her for a long time, as we all know her.
Yeah.
And it was good to talk to her, but she is very spry. Let's see what else I have. And I really do believe that Karen's item about the cannabis industry, bringing them into a work session, that may be just a work session by itself, to see what could possibly be done. And I know that'll probably be after the first of the year, but that's okay. But I think that it would be good to have them come in and talk with you all and see what they're facing, and if there is anything that can be done to enhance their business. And I'd also like to say, to staff, thank you for all the hard work, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Hopefully you'll enjoy the 4 days upcoming with family, friends, however you tend to partake in the Thanksgiving time. So, Mr. Rubin, what do you have?
Just a couple very quick things. I wanted to thank staff for the beautiful holiday decorations you're starting to see around town. Trinidad's really coming to life. I'm excited for the holiday tree lighting this week, and it's just going to be a nice time of year, I think, for everyone involved. I also want to mention, as you all know, our strategic planning consultant was in town last week and sat down with each one of you. So wanted to thank the council for taking the time to give feedback to our consultant. I had a chance to debrief with Marv at the end of last week, and he is incredibly impressed with the leadership that we have on the council. And is very optimistic about how we move forward, and very impressed with our town and everything that we're working on. So I just wanted to give you all that feedback, and certainly thank you for your help in the process, and there's a lot more to come. So.
I really enjoyed talking to him. It was
Good.
really fun.
Good.
Because, he comes from a small community like ours.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are similar.
Similarities.
Yeah.
Steve, can I ask you one question?
Sure.
Have you got any more input for the walkway over at Hosman's? I mean, people are really walking in the street. We need to push the issue to get that fixed before winter.
Yeah, it is on our radar, and so I will follow up on that. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay, thank you.
And likewise, heard not a lot, but a few people have already thanked the city council and staff for the Christmas decorations. I had a guy last week in church come up to me and he said, it really looks good. So the people are noticing, it's good to see. So thank you, Frank, for bringing up the additional funding for Christmas decorations. Mr. Downs, do you have anything you'd like to report?
Mayor and council members, good evening. I'm sorry I'm not there also. I am not feeling well, and I've had a direct exposure to COVID. So I apologize that I'm not there and that you had to reschedule my evaluation. Sorry, not sorry. No, just kidding.
We're doing it in absentia.
But I wanted to say, I guess the cat is out of the bag. Since I was talking to Councilwoman Griego in chat rooms, we got launched into the main meeting, and that is, we do need to present at one of your final regular meetings the rules of decorum for your consideration. I'm sorry that it hasn't been done before now, and it's just been kind of overlooked, but I need to have you consider and act on the rules of decorum before this council is done. And so that will be happening soon. I also want to tell you that also necessary is consideration. I think this needs to be on a work session before a regular meeting, but that is council needs to consider taking action under what is called the Natural Medicine Health Act of Colorado, the citizen initiative from 2022 that legalizes magic mushrooms and basically requires municipalities to opt in. There's no, and I know that I've mentioned this to you before, it's just been a long time. So we'll be doing a draft ordinance and presenting that to you, and again, having you able to discuss that at a work session upcoming. And I'm aware that there are very few meetings left in the year. But that's all I have, Mayor and council members. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Just one final note I just thought of is, as you know, that the governor had called a special session because HH failed, so he called a special session. And I kept in contact with Sarah Blackhurst over the entire weekend to see how it was progressing, and put it this way, it's a mess.
Okay,
It's a mess.
thank you.
But anyway, matter of fact, I called her every day to see what was going on, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yesterday. So it was a disaster.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, ma'am, I'm done.
Go ahead.
There was an email that was sent out from CML that gives the details on what action the state legislators did Friday, and it's pretty informative. It gives you all the information on what they're going to refund some of the boards and water districts and the like.
You know, what was interesting is the session was supposed to be specifically about, tax reduction. Well, they threw in something else, which is a good idea, but I didn't think it was supposed to be in there, but they did. They introduced, a food program into the whole session, and then on top of that,
Yeah.
there was a problem with all this Israeli-Palestinian stuff. They had people pro-Palestinians. They basically came in and took over and were dropping flags, and
Just
they
for point of
Oh, my
clarification,
God.
just really caused a lot of
I wanted to
issues.
ask what portion of the agenda this discussion falls in.
It's not, we really
But I
should.
just wanted to mention that was part of my report,
Okay.
and some of the things that happened. I think it's relevant.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion items? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Call roll, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes.
Frank, December 7th, the day that we're living in.